Welcome to Bit Heroes, the massively multiplayer online dungeon crawling mobile game. You can of course play it on the PC. I'm showing off the Steam browser. In future videos I will show off the Chrome browser, how you can play it just in your web whatever, and how you can play. There's another way to play on PC. It is through the Congregate site. They've got their own little interface for it as well. So you'll be seeing those in future videos. But right now we're on Steam, just easier to record this way. And right now I'm showing off a free-to-play character. So this guy is new. He's been running around for about a month, and he's already at level 102, progressing through the game without even $1 spent or anything like that. Definitely having a good time. So the purpose of this video is to kind of show off the game and show off what a day in the life looks like, and to kind of pique your interest. If that's something you're into, then there'll be more videos in the future kind of explaining game mechanics and a little bit more of the nitty-gritty, as well as you know, potential gameplay and things like that. So to start off, at the top of the screen at the user interface, you'll see two types of currencies. You've got gems and you've got gold. Both are earned in game. You could buy gems if you want. But gold is the main resource that you will find. You've got these other resources over here, so the two currencies, and then you've got resources. This green E stands for energy, and this is your main resource that you're going to use for going through the campaign, completing dungeons, eventually world bosses as you get there. You've got PvP tickets for PvP. On the right hand side of the screen you'll see different weekly events that you can compete in, rank up, and get different rewards, and they have their own currency. Over here you see, as you get through I believe the third zone, you'll start to unlock raids. This is a lower character, so he's got 4 unlocked, and there are at the time of filming this there are 6 total raids that'll be shown in future videos, and they have their own currencies and they all kind of accrue over time. World bosses will be captured in their own kind of video, but we're just going to dive into it right now. So when you first start off, you're going to start off in... No, go away. You're going to start off in Zone 1, back through here, and what you'll see are flags. These flags are individual competitions for you, individual adventures for you to compete through, and once you clear them you can't go back, and you can progress to the next one. And initially 3 flags will get you to a dungeon. You can go through different difficulty modes in a dungeon with different bonuses that multiply with your other bonuses, and when you go into a dungeon you can actually bring some friends with you. So for me, let's progress through. So there's a bunch of different zones here, and as you kind of progress through you unlock all these different zones. And for me, I've finally hit Zone 7 on this character after about a month of just kind of easy playing, again free to play. And so I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to the previous dungeon, because there's more experience back here. I want to get stronger before I move forward, and so I'm just going to dive right in. Now you can bring friends to help you. You can bring in people on your friends list, people in your guild to help carry you through these dungeons, but the flags are something that you will have to kind of go through on your own. And so while there's a carry mechanic, you can carry yourself through this content, there is a little bit of a bottleneck that's going to kind of keep things fair for you. So you get the benefit of both worlds. Each dungeon has a somewhat unique combination of foes to fight. The foes are called familiars, and similar to other games you can capture these foes and make them fight for you, and you can upgrade them in various ways, and that's one of my favorite aspects of the game, and that'll be covered a little bit more thoroughly in later videos. Another mechanic that is a lot more popular these days is the auto mechanic. So you'll see on the side of the screen, if I turn on auto, this whole group is running through on its own. I don't have to do anything. Again, because this is easier content, I can just breeze right through here and speed run it. That's something I've become really fond of, because a lot of games, this one included, they're very grindy, they're very kind of repetitive, in that you're farming gear and you're farming equipment, and if it's old content you don't really want to be sitting there clicking your auto attack all the way through it. It's nice to be able to put it on farm and just kind of get it done. This is the final boss of the dungeon. He's the big bad guy. They typically drop the best loot, and you can also capture them as well. So anything that you fight you can either capture or fuse in some way, and so that definitely makes it a little bit more fun and interesting. And it gives more specificity to the different areas that you go through. You know, it really matters what dungeon you're farming, because you're gonna get different items from that dungeon, you get different familiars from that dungeon. And so that is the main campaign. The second most important thing to talk about, once you've unlocked and if you clear through Zone 3, you'll unlock these raids. Each raid has its own gear, its own cosmetics, and its own kind of motif or theme. I've unlocked the fourth, and so I'm going to dive right in here. This is the final boss that is shown. This is the cosmetic effect that you can get from the dungeon, and some of these guys can actually be mounts, so you can actually jump on top of this if you get the mount and ride it around, and that's actually one of the more interesting mounts in the game. So raids differ from dungeons in that they don't give an experience boost because they give so much experience on base. You won't see an extra experience multiplier down here. But instead of bringing 3 friends, you can actually bring 5 friends along. And so this guy's in a pretty strong guild, so I'm going to bring the guild along with me. And kind of the same idea to a dungeon, you get to run through into a unique environment with a different resource cost and run through this as well. So like I said before, each different adventure is going to have different familiars to fight. Those familiars will go into different fusions, and you'll have differing gear types and different gear and different what was I trying to say? Cosmetics. I'm getting messages on my other character, that's why it keeps distracting me. But other things to talk about with raids is that there is a rare legendary that shows up on average 1 in 10 raids. You'll be able to run into him, and he can give you another chance at legendary loot. Legendary loot can only be dropped by the final boss and by the rare legendary familiar. And of course you can catch them as well, and they can go into different fusions. I'm getting blown up on my other character. So that pretty much wraps it up for raids. One of the more significant parts of the game, and this is early 2019. A lot of people are speculating, due to the pace of releases previously, they're speculating that we're probably going to expect some new content coming out in either February or March, whether it's a raid or a new zone or other special events that are not tied to your character's level or tier. That is yet to be seen. It's all kind of speculation, but a lot of people are hopeful. You want to use this time before that comes out to try to catch up, try to get to Raid 9 and get to that end game, and so everybody can kind of prepare together to get onto the new stuff. One of the best parts about this game is that there's a lot of community to it. It's a very active community, as you can see over here. The world chat has just been going off and off and off the entire time. Let's see if I can scroll through some of this. Very active community of players. World Chat 1 fills up, and they've even got 2 and 3. You can kind of jump around there and talk to the people. You can also find other people on the Discord, on the Reddit. I would always suggest the Discord because you can get that kind of instantaneous feedback and get a faster response than you would on the Discord. So that was the final boss of this area. We're still going to finish cleaning it up and doing a full clear. You want to get all the experience, you want to get all the loot in the dungeon, and so we're just going to wrap this up right through here. Let's see what else. So that is raids wrapped up. I probably won't show. I'll show PvP real quick in this one. PvP is another one, so it's got its own resource over here, and you can run through this. I've got a separate video that's already been filmed that's going to go into PvP a little bit more in depth. But this is where you can come in. You can fight against other players. You can fight against other players, and you can. Is he gonna kick my butt? And you can compete. I'm gonna give it a shot. So you can pick your enemy, see which one looks more appealing for you to fight. I'm gonna run in here and check this out. Let's pause it real quick. This is really cool to see because you don't see this all the time. We both have the same tank because this is one of the easier tanks to get. But this guy in the back, you can see how he looks really cool. This is a fusion that comes only from World Boss. So probably it's bad for me. It probably means he's gonna kick my butt. So I'm gonna try to kill it off as quick as I can. But it's pretty cool. You don't get to see him all the time. And got that out of there. So PvP is pretty cool. It is not in real time. You're fighting against a snapshot of this guy at a comparable item level to yourself. So it's not real time. I don't have to worry about him responding. There is one mode where you do get to play with other players in real time, and we'll talk about that when we get to World Boss video. But from PvP, you get a little bit of experience. It's not a ton. You get a little bit of gold, but gold's negligible. What you really get are these rewards here, and you can use them in crafting. And hey, like I said before, you'll see that in another video. Last but not least, we have trials. So over on the right-hand side of the screen, you will see different weekly events. They've even got fishing in here, but we won't talk about that. That rotate week to week. You've got trials and gauntlets, guild versus guild combat, invasions, and expeditions. They all have their own separate little videos that will talk about the different aspects of that. But this week we've got trials, and it's very similar to a dungeon, so I'm going to run through it here. If it makes the video too long, I'll probably end up just coming back and just cutting it off and keeping it short. But same idea. Trials are very similar to a dungeon. You're going to find a somewhat unique combination of enemies based on what level you choose. It's got a unique drop table of different sets and legendaries and items that you can get from each, from trials and gauntlets as compared to what you can get from raids, as compared to what you can get from dungeons and world boss. So there's a lot that you can do in the game. Typically, if you log in and all your resources are full, I'm able to knock out all my resources. If I'm hustling, I can get it all done in about half an hour or so. And if you log in twice a day, that's pretty much all you need to do if you want to use all your resources and stay up to date. If you don't want to watch this combat, since I'm able to just kind of run through it so easily, a lot of times people just come in here and kind of talk and chat it up. And, you know, it's pretty active here. See if I get any salt or any rude boys in here to say anything silly, but look at that. Friend request and whatnot. Alright. Fun game, great time killer. I've actually used this when working out. If I'm waiting for something, it's good. You can set it on auto and just kind of play with it. Or you can, for example, if you're working out, girlfriend and I have been doing a lot of hill sprints lately because we live in the hills right now. So you can actually set it on auto. I throw my phone in my pocket, zip it up, sprint up the hill. By the time I'm up that hill, I've actually gone through all this content, and I can just set the next one and just go like that. If you're lifting weights, you know, do your set your team to run, do your set, lift the weights. When you're finished with the set, you know, you're probably finished running that dungeon. So it's kind of fun to run through. I've got a small dog that is tickling my foot and wants to go out, so that's a good time to cut this video short. There's a lot more to the game. I'll try to do shorter videos in the future to really kind of show all the different aspects. But this playthrough will kind of be into the nitty-gritty of all the little game mechanics and just kind of showing all the content that you can enjoy. But it's a game you can play it on the phone, you can play it on your PC, you can also play it for free. But I hope you enjoy. I'm addicted, and you know, hopefully some of you guys will get addicted.